Hey, friends. I have a quick message that I wanted to share with you today. And I want to talk about balance versus stability. Okay. And this thought process for me came probably about a year ago. And it was after I read a quote by Jana Kingsford. And it says, balance is not something you find, it's something you create. I thought that was a really powerful statement. And it came to mind, I was talking with a client of mine who was really struggling, saying they needed to find balance. It was between taking care of the house, taking care of their kids. They had a job to show up to. They had multiple pets. One of them was sick. They have a parent who is having age-related health issues and needed more time and support. And they were just really kind of like on a speeding train towards burnout. And on top of that, they were trying to declutter. And it was feeling like everything around them was just so much energy, so much noise. They weren't sleeping well, they weren't eating well, they weren't remembering to stay hydrated. It was kind of like a chaos. Like it just kept circling, and it was really, really heavy for them. And they were talking about how I feel like I need balance, but balance doesn't feel like the right word. And I think that's because if we think about the word balance, there's an expectation that if everything is balanced, we're going to be good. We're going to feel better. We're going to be more successful or more productive. Or sometimes we think we'll even be happier. Okay, but what if we take out the word balance, right? Because that doesn't quite hit right. And what if we change it with stability? Okay, because if we think about the two words, balance means all things being equal. And if we're struggling with what's going on in our day-to-day lives, when is everything always equal, right? When do we equally take care of our house, our job, our pets, our kids, our parents, time with friends, taking care of our body, all of that stuff? We can't put in an equal amount to all of it all at the same time. It's simply just impossible to do. But stability means I may need to take something from one area. I may need to pull back on this area here because I need the energy to focus on something over here. And that's going to help me feel a little bit more stable. It's going to help my day-to-day life feel a little bit more stable. Do you see the difference in that? And we have to remember that when we're trying to figure out what stability looks like for us, we have the flexibility of choice at any point in time to change our decision, right? So we pulled from here to put into here, and then it'd be like, okay, I've been doing this for a while. This is kind of feeling okay. So I'm just going to pull back on my energy and my time to that a little bit so I can spend more time focusing on this thing. So today I'm offering you a reframe that stability isn't something that you find. It's something that you create. Okay. So, and I think this is kind of easy to implement because you don't need a degree. You don't need any kind of certification. It doesn't care what job you have or don't have, or what your income level is, or what you do on a day-to-day basis. So stability comes down to small, actionable steps that serve your greater good. Okay, let that sink in. Stability comes down to small, actionable steps that serve your greater good. So what stability looks like to you may look different to your neighbor, to your friend, to your spouse, to a sibling, and that is okay. Okay, because stability doesn't have to look like the same thing for all of us. We're all going to make individual choices depending on what's going on in our life at any given moment. One of the ways that I find it easier to implement that is to ask myself, what is the next right thing? And for the people that have, heard me coach and have been around for a while, they know this. I say this all the time. Keep focusing on the next right thing and the next right thing. And what that means is when we have all these decisions to make, okay, whether they're business decisions, whether it's in decluttering, what's in our day-to-day life, when we look at all of these things, there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of chaos, and there can be a lot of overwhelm. So we have to have laser focus, okay? And sometimes before I deal with all of these things out there, I'm going to start dealing with what's in here first and say, okay, what is the next right thing? Sometimes it's to get a glass of water. right? Sometimes it's to make sure that I'm fueling my body well. Sometimes it's to go outside, have some time in nature, put my face in the sun for a bit. Okay, science talks about in so many ways why being in nature is good for our physical body and good for our mental health. That does not mean that I'm going to say, oh my gosh, go tromp around in nature and all of your problems will disappear. I know that's not how it works, right? It can be complicated, but we can make tiny little intentional decisions to try and help make our day-to-day life easier. And when it comes to decluttering, instead of looking at a whole room, we're going to laser focus on one drawer, one shelf, one portion of a table. We don't have to do it all at once, right? We don't have to make decisions about all the things. We can just laser focus. It's kind of like a horse with blinders, right? When a horse has blinders on, it's going straight down the track. It's not worrying about what's going on either side of it, right? So sometimes we have to be like a horse with blinders. So the idea of next right thing, that came into my life over a decade ago. And I was a single mom. I lived just outside of Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and we got hit with a whopper of a snowstorm. And I woke up early that morning with my 2 young kids, and there was so much snow to the point it was up to my knees. And my van was snowed in and we were getting more snow. And I was like, I went outside and I kind of was like, survey the damage. And here I am with my little rinky dink snow shovel going, oh my gosh, look how much I have to shovel. I have to shovel all of this. I have to do the whole porch and all the steps and the whole walkway. And, my double wide driveway, right? Which is really wide and really long. And I was dramatic in the moment. I was like, I'm just going to go inside and die. I was just like, no, my whole brain shut down. I didn't want to participate. And if you haven't watched the video that I talk about my dog, it's called Why Are We Afraid of Change? Listen to that video about the story of what happens when I put boots on my dog. And she's just like, my body is limp now. I forget how to walk. I'm not going to participate. Okay, that's what happened to me in the snowstorm. And so I had to come back in and I was mad. And there was really nothing to be mad about other than the situation. I didn't want to be in it. I was like, there's just me. And, now I have to do all this work and it's bright and early and I need to make sure that, I can get my kids out if school is running that day. And it was chaos. But then so this is what happened. I said to myself, okay, well, I've got 2 kids indoors. They'll come outside and play for a little bit, but they won't be out that long. So I'm going to have to be, in and out, in and out. So I was like, what if I just start with shoveling just the front, right in front of my front door? So I did that. And then I came back in. And then I was like, okay, you know what? Now I'm going to do the steps off of the porch onto the walkway. And I did that. And then I came back in. And then I did the walkway itself. And I was like, I don't have to do the whole wide part of the walkway. I just need a path, right? And that applies to our decluttering too. If you have a stash and dash room, if it's a place where you hide all the things you don't want to deal with, you don't have to make a decision about all the things. Create a path for yourself. So basically, by the end of the day, what I needed to do got done. And it got done by me asking myself, what is the next right thing? I thought after I did the walkway, I would do the whole driveway. My body was like, nope, we're exhausted. Everything hurts. I'm asthmatic. I was like, my breathing is not good. So I had to go back inside for a bit. And I had to make peace with it and say, that's okay. I'm going to go inside. I'm going to have a break and I'm going to come out. And I realized then I'm like, Selena, you don't have to do the whole driveway. There's only one vehicle. So I could just do, the one to get in and out. The other side, it can wait. And that's exactly what I did. And I got it done. So I'd like you to think about spending some time asking yourself, what's the next right thing? And then trying that approach and seeing where it leads. Does it help you with stability? Can you practice saying no to things more than you say yes? Okay, if you're someone that says yes to things that take more time and you start feeling anxious and you say yes because out of guilt or expectation, and then it feels like pressure, it is okay to say no sometimes too. And that's kind of a muscle we have to flex. And I also want to introduce you to the idea of what I call practicing the pause. Okay, sometimes if something is asked of us, we immediately respond. And it isn't always the response that we want to make. It's the one that we feel we have to make. So if you have a tendency to leap into saying yes, and then you feel regret and angst and anxiety and resentful, practice the pauses for you, okay? Because in most cases, what's being asked of you, you don't have to give an answer right away. So even if the other person is pushing, even if they want the answer immediately, okay, especially if this is a social thing that you're being asked to do, like to volunteer your time, to spend time with someone you don't really want to spend time with, you can practice the pause. You can say, I'll get back to you. And you can check in with your calendar because you don't want to overbook yourself. And you can also check in with your body, and ask yourself, do I have the time and the energy for this? Okay. And then you can decide accordingly. Because when we make an effort to shift our priorities in a way that serves us better, we need to remember that that's actually a good thing, because that's going to help us it makes it easier to take care of our space, to take care of our bodies, and to take care of our mental health. Okay, so that's what I want to leave you with today. What is the next right thing? Practice the pause, and then let me know how it goes. Take care.